Wondering how to change the power steering fluid on your Hemi? Well, today on this episode, we'll be changing the power steering fluid on my Dodge Challenger SRT 392 6.4 liter Hemi. What's up, Mopar fam? It's your boy at Fred Easy. What's going on? Changing the power steering fluid on a 2014 Dodge Challenger SRT should be similar for Hemis and Dodge Chargers, Chrysler 300s, and Dodge Magnums, as they generally share similar parts and setups. Even with all the different Hemi engines, the processes will be fairly similar. We'll get to what I use for power steering fluid, why I chose it, why I did it the way I did, and why we should change the power steering fluid at the end of the video. So let's head straight right into how to do this. Alright guys, tools of the trade for this process are a flathead screwdriver and an 8mm wrench for the air intake box, pliers for the return line hose clamp, a container to catch the oil, a hand oil pump for the 3.6 owners, and others who decide to just suck the fluid out of the reservoir. Alright, let's get it. So this is how I changed the power steering fluid on my SRT. First thing to do is locate the power steering fluid reservoir tank. On my 2014 Dodge Challenger 6.4 liter Hemi, it is located behind the air intake box. For the 3.5, 5.7, 6.1 engines, they are located between the driver's side fender and the air intake box. For the 3.6 V6 applications, they are located in the passenger side wheel well. After that, for our Hemi engines, let's get our 8mm wrench and flathead screwdriver and go ahead and remove the air intake box. Now that we have access to the power steering reservoir, let's take off the cap and throw a towel underneath the return line, which is located here. Check that out. Alright, next let's get our container underneath the return line. Here we use the glass measuring cup so we know how much fluid we collect. After that, let's get some pliers and slide down the hose clamp to loosen the hose. Now that the hose is loose, let's go ahead and remove the hose from the power steering reservoir tank while holding our glass measuring cup ready to capture the oil. If the fluid is cold, it may take some time for the reservoir to empty, so let's be patient. Once the reservoir tank is empty, let's install our power steering pump return line and throw our hose clamp back on. Next, let's take our measuring cup and see how much came out of the reservoir tank. Look at that, about 355 milliliters, just about the same amount as a whole bottle of Royal Purple Max Easy power steering fluid. Okay, so with the return line back in, let's throw our entire bottle of Royal Purple power steering fluid in. Wait for the fluid to settle and check the fill line and make sure it's on level. After that, let's put the power steering reservoir tank cap back on and install our air intake box and tighten everything up. Finally, let's get into our Mopar, turn on the Hemi and move the power steering wheel all the way to the right and all the way to the left to get the new fluid into the system. After that, recheck the full level line on the reservoir tank to ensure we have enough fluid in there. Now, go ahead and drive the vehicle for a few hundred miles and repeat the process again, which will get most or all of the old ATF Plus 4 transmission fluid they use on our Mopar power steering systems. Today, we're replacing the power steering fluid with Royal Purple Max Easy high performance synthetic power steering fluid. One of the reasons why I chose the Royal Purple Max Easy power steering fluid, as it is compatible with any OEM hydraulic power steering system. So even if we don't get all the ATF Plus 4 out, we get most of it out by doing this process twice or 3 times. We will be good either way. Now, the second reason for choosing the Royal Purple Max Easy power steering fluid is that it is a synthetic power steering fluid that not only has a higher temperature threshold, but it also conditions the seals in the power steering pump and the system itself. Our OEM power steering fluid is ATF Plus 4, which is a transmission fluid. Although it works, the Hemi owners that do not have a power steering pump cooler have reported that ATF Plus 4 heats up, expands, and leaks out. Now, those that have the power steering pump cooler, we don't seem to have these issues, but I would rather have the pump cooler in general. Think about it, ATF Plus 4 is a transmission fluid, and our transmissions have a transmission cooler for this same situation. Bottom line, change the power steering fluid to Royal Purple Max Easy and you'll be fine and you can freaking forget about it and go do your thing. Alright guys, so moving on, there are a couple of other ways you can change your power steering fluid, and the way I do it, it is a combination of those ways and I'll explain why. The easiest way to change the power steering fluid is to simply use a hand oil pump and extract the fluid out of the reservoir. This way will also require multiple fluid extractions for the power steering reservoir, just like our process. But the tube you may use could be too big, and even with the smaller tubes, there's no guarantee that you'll actually suck all the freaking fluid out. Think about it. It's all dependent on where the tube goes, right? Might not even go to the bottom, you might not go to the sides. At the end, there is no way to find out if you're actually sucking all that fluid out. Draining the reservoir from the bottom of the reservoir tank, like we did, ensures all the fluid in the tank gets out. Come on, it's at the bottom, right? So, now, Another way to do this is to remove the airbox just like we did, remove the return line, and have someone in the driver's seat turn on the Mopar and turn the steering wheel back and forth while you catch the power steering fluid being pumped out of the return line, while at the same time putting in fresh power steering fluid in the reservoir tank. This procedure flushes out all the fluid out of the reservoir tank and the actual pump all in one step. But this process requires 2 people, and you run the risk of running the power steering pump dry, having dirt in the throttle body, or having a mess of things if something gets caught in the serpentine belt while performing this process. Dumping the power steering fluid reservoir tank multiple times with Royal Purple Max Easy is a safe, non-intrusive way that works and gives you peace of mind. Alright everyone, so in closing, we changed the power steering fluid out to keep the fluid clean, preventing dirt and sludge damaging the seals in the power steering system. It also keeps the seals conditioned, and the process of changing out the power steering fluid ensures that there is always enough fluid in the system. A power steering system low on fluid puts pressure in the system, and you can hear a distinct whining sound when turning. It honestly sounds like a supercharger. What are y'all thoughts on changing out the power steering fluid in our Mopars? Do you feel like we should be changing it out frequently? Hit up the comments below and drop your opinion. You can also find the instructions in the description as well. Thanks for watching everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell for notifications. I would really appreciate it. Take care, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.